Hello, everyone. It's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPDM Crew podcasting network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I play a little movie roulette, randomly selecting something from my giant, enormous, random watch list that could be basically anything. And joining me is my frequent collaborator and friend and co-host of one of my other five podcasts on here. It's Adam. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, man, always a pleasure. And you are correct. This one is a random one.
Yes.
And we might explain why as we go along.
I'm going to give some quick backstory, but if you ever want to be in the know about physical media, you should listen to Adam's show.
Hmm.
And if
Thank you, sir.
you're not afraid to spend money, because you'll probably want to spend a bunch of money, listen to the show. But
Uh,
so I love anime. I've really gotten into anime,
mhm.
especially over like the past 5, 6 years. My brother's a big reason why I've gotten into anime. I think some of the best animated films of all time are from Japan. I'm a
Absolutely.
big fan of Japanese cinema.
Hmm.
There's an interesting trend in anime theatrical releases at the moment where they're almost like 90% of them are just spin-offs of shows or
Yes.
like
Yeah.
3 episodes of the season premiere of a show that I'm like,
Mm.
they should really do a better job of promoting that this is just 3 episodes of season 3 of a show strung together because I've fallen into that pitfall before. And this movie, which we're talking about, Overlord, the Sacred Kingdom, looked really cool when it came out in 2024. So this is the most recent film I've done on the watch list so far.
Mm.
And I just didn't get around to checking it out. It came out on a busy weekend. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. I just couldn't squeeze it in to go check it out in theaters. So it wound up on my list to watch. And this is obviously a continuation of a series. And
Yes. Yeah.
it's not quite like, oh my God, here's the first 3 episodes of season crammed in. It does feel like it's at least putting together a
It's
isolated story in the grand scheme of the show.
it is
But
its own movie. So sorry,
yes.
unless you want me to explain, I'll let you finish and then I'll explain what I found. Sorry.
But yeah, so I was just going to read. So this is because there's an IMDb synopsis, and then there's also something written by Crunchyroll because this is
Hmm.
where I watched it. It's on
Hmm.
Crunchyroll, at least in the States. After 12 years of playing his favorite MMO RPG game, Momanga logs in the last time only to find himself transported into the world playing it indefinitely. Throughout his adventures, his avatar ascends to the title of Sorcerer King Ains Ol Gown, once preposterous but now on the brink of ruin. The Sacred Kingdom enjoyed years of peace after construction of an enormous wall protecting them from neighboring invasions. But one day, this comes to an end when the demon emperor Zhao de Baoth arrives with an army of villainous demi-humans. Fearing invasion of their own lands, the neighboring territory of the slain theocracy is forced to beg their enemies at the Sorcerer Kingdom for help. Heeding the call, Mamanga, now known as Sorcerer King Eins Ol Gaun, rallies the Sorcerer Kingdom and its undead army to join the fight alongside the Sacred Kingdom and the slain theocracy in hopes to defeat the Demon Emperor. Boom. There it is.
Yeah, and so that explains a lot for me because this is like you said, this is clearly picking up in the middle of something. So I assume you're going to ask me my general thoughts.
Yes. Go
And so
ahead.
this is gonna go along with them. Um, I did look this up, and this is based on a manga series or a book series,
Yes.
and it's like near
Originally.
the end of that series. And this is the third movie. So on IMDb, there's two movies that precede this,
Yes.
and a TV series. So when I was watching it, I knew I was missing a lot of context. I was like, as it got into, I'm like, this stuff it feels like I should already know is what when stuff is happening. Admittedly, I don't think I saw anywhere that someone was logging into a game to play this, that this was a game. I didn't know that until after I read that
Yeah.
synopsis. So, does that happen in this movie?
I guess it's long enough into the series of the show that
that we should
this is
know.
he's already been in the game for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
So, just context for viewers out there if you want to go check this out. There's a lot of backstory. Like
Mm,
obviously you could read a synopsis and get like a basic background, so at least you could like ground yourself in the experience. Like,
yep.
yes, there is a whole show and two films before this. If you really want to like fully understand all the world building
Mm,
that's
mm.
around this story for sure.
Yeah. So my son is an anime fan, and I asked him, "Have you
Mm.
seen this?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." And I was watching it, and he didn't twig, but I think he watched has seen the series. So I
Okay.
think if you had seen the series and the other movies, then this would be pretty impressive because this is an impressive film. And you know how long
Mhm.
it took you to read that storyline. Like there's a lot going on, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff happening, and as is my way when I'm watching fantasy adventure type of stuff, I find it really hard to keep track of who's who and what's going on. And it's always the strange names. And that's why I used to always struggle with Lord of the Rings because
Mm.
I can't remember who's who. And when they refer to them later in the movie, I don't know who they're talking about. So I become disengaged. And that's what happened to me in this. So it took me like 3 or 4 watches to get into Lord of the Rings and finally love it. I'm not going
Mhm.
to watch this that amount of times to do that, but if you've seen them, I would obviously, yeah, I think this worth is worth checking out because it's the animation is stunning. It's a beautiful film to
Yes.
look at. It has
Mhm.
great themes, like the themes of just protecting those you love or protecting those you care about and fighting for what you believe in and being kind of your true self. The thematics are really great. I thought the characters were also really great, especially Eins Al Gown. So I don't even know how to pronounce it. So um, he's a great character because
Yep.
he's a demon or he's undead, but he's a nice dude. Like honest, like he's got all these magic powers and he's like does some evil stuff, but it's all in the name of protecting his tribe and his kingdom. And he's actually really decent. Like he takes this other character under his wing and kind of builds them up and gives them some agency and um, you know, what's the way? I guess stretch activities is probably what I'd say in my industry. Like just, giving them something extra to do to learn and build capability. Um, so it's a really, it is fun, but it was just hard for me to follow. That's where it lets it down for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of baggage with this. Like, there's a lot of
Mm,
world building that it would be very helpful to watch the show. Because, like, there's some films that, like, are spin-offs of shows that, like, it gives you enough at the beginning to be able to be like, oh, I could watch this on its own. I think the challenge of this is it's fantasy. Fantasy's
yes. Yeah.
challenging to begin with because you
Mm-hmm.
have to do so much world building. And
Mm,
obviously in this film you don't see that whole idea of getting pulled in like Momanga getting pulled into this MMORPG, but like I think the film does a good job of reinforcing that becoming your full self, which I think you mentioned, like finding your identity, which that's
mm,
exactly the journey that this character is going on by coming
mm,
into this world where they see this cruise version of themselves, what they don't see in real life, which I think
mm-hmm.
that's really relatable for a lot of people of this time that they
Yep.
spend a lot of time online and creating these personas where they feel more comfortable being themselves. And
Yep.
I love the mentoring relationship between
Yes.
the
Yeah.
manga and this really awesome design character with
Yeah.
like Skeletor type of has a big skeleton head, but like he's a really cool and
Mm,
intimidating looking character. But I love to your point, like he has this dynamic where he's mentoring our protagonist, and it's a
mm-hmm.
meaningful relationship, and it's the heart and soul of this film because they're
Yeah,
building this
absolutely.
connection. And then like the big demon emperor who's like Belrog-esque who has a really cool design too. And all the animation looks incredible. They do
Yeah.
so many creatures in this. So like this demi-human
Mm,
army that's
mm,
coming in. it just there's so many cool character designs. And honestly, the biggest thing that stood out to me is like the action in this is really exciting
Yeah,
and
it's great.
dynamic and cool. So like it's 2 hours and 15 minutes and they pack a lot of stuff in. There's a
Hmm.
lot of awesome, exciting action, and the visuals are just stunning. Like to your point, the animation on this is a lot of anime through like the 80s, the 90s, into the 2000s was very like that hand drawn 2D, just absolutely gorgeous animation.
Yeah.
And like Masato Shinkai, he
Mm.
started making like Your Name and Weathering for You, and those are like
Hmm.
that next stage of animation where there's like a sheen and a lighting that's very interesting
Yes.
and dynamic, and that this film has that and really delivers that. And I do think like this film's a little hard to follow because I think it just has so much stuff going on,
Hmm. Hmm.
and even just from like a narrative writing standpoint, they are really trying to do a lot of things within this 2 hours and 15 minutes, even outside of like if you don't have the background. And you could tell this is part of a franchise because even like the very end of the
Yeah.
movie, it feels like
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
setting up the next thing.
Yeah, it's sequel baiting, but it's like fourth movie in the series baiting.
Yeah. So it's like, well, next time, this guy
Mm.
definitely is going to be the villain,
Mm.
and it's setting that kind of stuff up. So like from a outsider looking in, I think this translated a lot better than like so many of the anime movies getting released recently have been just here's 3 episodes combined of the show in a
Yeah.
theater, but like not framing that way. It's not like here's season 3, episodes 1, 2, and 3 for Demon Slayer. No, it's Demon
Yeah.
Slayer subtitle. And then like me, you're an idiot and you go in and realize that, oh, this is episodes of a show that I've never watched. I'm a little
Yep.
confused. But like this is I think does a better job of offering a singular story at least to tell. It's just you if you haven't watched the show and stuff like that, you're just not going to have all the backstory and the context to it.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. Um, yeah, I'm not sure I have much to add to that, to be honest. I think it's been covered quite well. It's I
Yeah,
mean, if you were I mean the last thing I'd say is I would only recommend it if you've seen the rest of it. If you don't make this the first one you're watching this series, because I think it would be I think it would be pretty impressive if you followed it the entire way through. I think it would be
yeah.
quite great. Yeah.
I can only imagine what having all that emotional connection. Like I try to take a step back and think about like when a new Avengers movie comes out, I'm like, I've been
Mm.
invested. I've watched every
Yeah.
single one of these movies and shows
Mm.
and have all the background and just the payoff, that punch. This feels like this is a really big scale story to
Yeah.
this franchise. And even from outside looking in, there's still a bunch of thrilling and exciting things. And it's incredibly well animated. And just to give a shout out to
Yeah.
Naoyuki Ito, who was the director, who just really put in a really impressive effort here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Very.
that's basically all we have to say about it
Mm.
since we don't have a whole lot of the background context. But you know, sometimes you find yourself in these situations and you make the most of
That's
it.
that's the beauty of this show. It's just it's a roulette wheel, so this is where it spun up.
All 8,300 movies that I have on this watch list. But Adam, thank you so much as always for coming on and chatting movies with me.
Not a worry. Always a pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.
And thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's that? Do you have any anime shows that you really love and you've enjoyed getting to go into a theater and getting to check out some spin-off either episode clusters or like movie spin-offs of it? I have to say though, I did get to see the first 3 episodes of Samurai Jack in a theater, and that was a really cool
Mm.
experience. But they were the
Yeah.
first 3 episodes. So you can just start from there and
It's
then
a-
go on
yeah,
from
it's a
there.
little different.
But and make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPDM Crew podcasting network is ever expanding. There's so many different shows, all different types of interest, especially if you love movies. And you will find something that you enjoy for sure. But if you want to join the crew, reach out to us on our website. If you want to be a guest on one of these shows, like this one, and play some movie roulette with me, or
Hmm.
if you want to start your own podcast, and if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.